Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Casual Gaming Podcast, where we are talking about casual gaming and casually maybe getting our asses beaten in Call of Duty a lot, which happens to me. But
You've
today
gotten
we
better.
have a great episode. Yeah, no, I have not gotten better.
Dodge has declined in his duty play.
I don't know.
Listen, I love Dodge as a best friend, but his numbers aren't as good. He's Tom Brady. Like, his numbers are okay, but he'll still win you the game. I mean, you can still I put all my faith in Dodge when it comes to one of those games.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now.
You played with me the other night, Jay.
Jay and I have secretly been talking about Dodge has been away from Call of Duty for quite some time. And Jay and I have been in the back scenes trying to scheme to get him back on. And that mission has been accomplished, and he's back on the sticks. Multiplayer, won't do the war zone, but he's back on the sticks.
Back to the roots, getting back to the roots with the multi.
I like that.
Jay, how did you do the other night?
No, I mean, listen, I'm the best. So, I don't know. I'll just end it there. Yep.
Okay.
I'm the best.
Yeah. Here's the thing, Jay, you're you're not, you and Dodge are close to the same age, but you're younger though, right?
Yeah, by a couple of months.
Yeah, Jay, you're younger than Dodge, right?
Oh no, December 86.
December 86.
Oh, you guys are the same age.
What does that have to do with it?
Well, I was just going to say, when you have somebody that's retiring like Dodge, there's somebody coming up to take this place because you put up Dodge numbers now. Those were Dodge numbers for years.
Yeah.
I think Dodge
has transferred because we're both Sagittarius then. So the fire emblem has just transferred over to Jay.
It is. It's just moved on to the next.
How do you feel about that, Jay?
No, I think I'm the best. So I think Dodge.
Listen, Dodge is an OG. Dodge Halo numbers, and between my brother and Dodge, two best Halo players I've ever played with. My brother's.
Oh my God, your brother is unbelievable.
Dodge, you and SWAT, man, was deadly. You were so quick. That little snap you did. And then you get my brother snipes. Nobody I've ever met could beat my brother in snipes. I've never met a person on this earth that could beat my brother in snipes on Halo 2.
I mean, your brother's freaking good. There's no question about it. I mean, he was dirty. The sniper was incredible. That was his weapon of choice, was it not?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's why he always wanted to play snipers. Yeah. Yeah,
well, I don't know. He was next level. That's for sure. I'm actually excited for the new Halo because I've heard it's going to be pretty good. I don't know. Yeah. We'll see. Well, cool. We were Dodge. We were talking last week about a kind of like a game challenge that we had given each other. And we selected a few things for each other. And I believe you are playing Uncharted, and Jay, you are playing Resident Evil. And it's cool how we do it. Dodge just sent me a screenshot today in the group chat, sent us all the startup screen, and we knew we got it. So Jay
talking shit.
You've been loving it. How is the first? You're playing Resident Evil 1, correct?
Yeah, Resident Evil 1. It's good. It's actually awesome. And I'm glad that I'm playing it. I did not beat it the first time I played it. But there was a part in the first one that scared the shit out of me. And I thought it was going to be coming up in this playthrough, and it came through, and it scared the shit out of me again. And it's the part where you go down the hallway, and the first time you go down it, the glass just creaks and cracks on the window. And then you're like, what the fuck? Like, if you play like with all the sound down or like outside noise down, or just with a headset on, right? It's pretty intense. So the window cracks, and then you go through, and then you come back through that same hallway, and boom, those two dogs jump out at you. dude, scared the shit out of me, and that's when I stopped playing. Not because it scared me, but I couldn't get past
Yeah, come on.
I couldn't get past that part before, and now I'm through it.
Yeah, well, that's cool. That's good. Dodge playing Uncharted, playing the first one. How many? What was the session today?
I put in probably close to a 7-hour session, I would say.
Today?
No, maybe. No, maybe 5. I don't know.
Holy
You got to chapter 12. You got to chapter 12.
Yeah, actually
Cool.
13 maybe. Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
what's something you're digging? What do you like about it versus something that's you're not used to or you're not liking?
Yeah, so what I'm digging the feel of it. The story's obviously, pretty cool. The feel of the game is pretty like new still feeling. Like it doesn't feel clunky or anything,
Yeah.
which I was surprised about.
Because it's an older game. I mean, that came out I think it was
Yeah,
2007, I think, or something like that. Like it was.
I think so, yeah. So yeah, for like what you're doing, like the climbing and stuff like that, and I kind of like how the game leads you like that. Like it's kind of been like, here's this room. How are you gonna get out of it? And it's also kind of mixed in, the gunfighting aspect to where it's kind of like I noticed it in one level specifically. Like you're kind of working through to get out and climbing and doing the platforming, and then there's different sections where now you're shooting to move on to the next part where you have to platform more to get out. So no, it's interesting.
Do the graphics still hold up for 2007?
I mean, it looks nice, but I mean, it
wasn't
not like
that first one wasn't as funded. I mean, the graphics aren't great in the first one. That's even the cutscenes are even kind of like they definitely put more into the cutscene than they did in the game, but when you play 2 and 3, you'll notice just the depth of the level, just a different feel of kind of where you can go and stuff. It just looks better. It's you'll see a difference.
Well,
so what, Jay, what system are you playing?
It's a shit game.
And it's not. Jay hates it, but what are you playing Resident Evil on?
I think there's only 3 difficulties, right, Dodge? I think so. The middle one, normal.
To start off with, I believe so.
Yeah, to start off with. Yeah.
Okay. And Dodge, you're playing.
There's an achievement to beat Dodge. You probably have it to beat the game in like 30 minutes or something, or 3 hours or something.
It's
like
not 30 minutes, but it's
like
probably
1 hour or something.
Yeah, for the first game, it's probably. I don't know.
We can look it up,
You can beat it in 2.5 for sure.
Yeah,
2.5 hours. That's probably a solid run.
Yeah, and that's when you and Cody, when you guys would get down on those res games and do those no death runs and speed runs and stuff. That was always fun to watch. What about what system are you playing it on, Jay?
I'm playing on the PS4, but I will be. So I like it so much, I'm going to run the gauntlet. So I'm going to play all of them. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to Dodge. Just told me the 6 is the worst one, but
in my opinion, it is.
The ones I didn't play all of them, but the ones I played, I really liked 5. I thought that was fun.
The only Resident Evil game I liked was GameCube's, the GameCube version. When they went to third person, like over the shoulder.
Was that 4?
I think that was 4. Resident Evil 4. That was actually the only one that I've beaten.
Dodge, was it 4? I would think that was the most like.
I think Dodge is frozen, just a little.
Dodge is frozen.
Sorry, he'll jump.
That's hilarious. Wait, I got something.
There he is. Okay, there he is.
So it finally happened. Damn.
Yeah, that's all right.
We're gonna leave that.
No, it isn't all right. You know what?
Was Res 4 the one that they changed the camera to the over the shoulder more, and it was more like?
Yes, Res 4 is when that happened.
Yeah,
that was always a good one.
And that was for the GameCube. That was
on Switch.
That was a GameCube exclusive. Was Resident Evil 4? Was it not?
It was. Yeah, at first, at first, Code Veronica was a Dreamcast.
Oh God.
Can you let me get my Switch shout out or what?
Yeah, what's your Switch shout out?
Oh, I'm gonna play for anyone that doesn't know. I mean, what the hell are we doing here? All the Resident Evils are on Switch, or at least A bunch of them are. Maybe not all of them, but a lot of them are. So if you're looking for a reason to play your Switch, fucking Res Evil.
Hey. No free advertisements, Jay.
Well, you ain't gonna get no money from Nintendo. I'll tell you that right now.
Are you okay? So, Dodge, you've played those Resident Evil games. What? You've played them on multiple systems, then, right? What systems have you played them on?
Oh, Resident Evil. I've played on. I do believe it was on 64 at one point. I never played it on that, but I played it on PlayStation 2, then PlayStation 3 and 4, Xbox 360, GameCube, Nintendo Wii.
Oh yeah, the Wii. I forgot they came out with one.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So out of
that's it.
Out of your favorite Resident Evil games, then, because I know that when we would watch you play those games, you were always, the movement is so important on being able to maneuver around those zombies and some of those really crazy parts when they things get hairy. And I remember watching you guys do that. Did you find a system where the controller worked the best for you and it felt just cherry, and that was when you were able to get through it as smoothly as you would?
Yeah. So, well, and with Resident Evil, I guess, maybe it doesn't make that much of a difference, but yeah, there was definitely two systems in particular. But I would definitely say probably PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 1 were the best controllers that I played it on. I didn't very much care for the GameCube controller.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I see, Jay, you had a GameCube, right?
No, I didn't.
You didn't get one?
No,
that controller. My biggest complaint of that controller was the back triggers felt like you had to hammer those things in there. Remember how
big ass
and you had to do that anyway because it was
yeah.
I mean,
did you have GameCube? You had 64.
No, I don't have a GameCube, but I'm with you on the trigger portion of it. I mean, if you weren't careful, if you were trying to hit the bumper, those grooves were so deep in those triggers, the left and right triggers, man, you get caught on
GameCube.
Get caught.
You know how I know that Dodge's least favorite controller is the GameCube? Is when I sold him my GameCube for $50 and included Mario Kart. And I still regret doing this because I would love to have the GameCube right now, but I'm glad I sold it to you. He was playing Mario Kart. I tend to take naps, and I've passed out for a little bit and woke up to Dodge swinging the controller into the ground as hard as he could, yelling fucking Princess Peach every single time the controller hit, and I watched that controller just shatter. That was at Nick's house. That was.
Do you honestly?
That's when I knew Dodge belonged.
I've seen Dodge break.
Friendship.
I've seen Dodge break many controllers. Many.
Yep.
But honestly, the reason why I didn't ever get GameCube, and honestly, it wasn't the controller that kept me away from it. I just couldn't fucking stand the small little discs. They pissed me off. I don't know why. I fucking hated those things. It was like, carny, small hands, smell like cabbage, I hated it. Honestly, that is honestly why I never got into the GameCube, because I fucking hated it. And Cody was like, oh, look at how cute. And he put it in the tray.
Every time he put it in, he would go, all right,
look at it, right, it's going in. Because he knew I fucking hated those little discs.
Oh, man. Well, I will say, though, PlayStation to me does have the best feel of a controller that out of all the systems that I've played.
Oh, is this where we're going right now? We're gonna go best.
I'm saying the PlayStation controller is the most comfortable in my hand. Xbox, it's the triggers. I don't like the long. I don't know. It just doesn't feel right. I don't know.
Oh my God, I fully disagree
preferred
with you.
The second generation Xbox One controller to the 360 controller.
Oh my goodness. I haven't
used one in such a long time. I just remember they do feel, I don't know. They feel too big to me. Like they're too wide.
What, the Xbox?
Yeah.
So if we're gonna get into this right now. I'm gonna start with the worst controller ever, and it's a tie. We've already talked about one of them, which is the GameCube controller. I fully agree that may be, from my experience, out of all the systems that I've played, that is by far probably the worst controller I've ever played. Second, and I freaking love this system. I still play it to this day. But the original OG Sega controller is so stupid. I fucking hate it. I absolutely hate it.
To hurt your
so
hands.
It's not good.
Stupid. So I would say modern for me, the worst controllers are GameCube and then Sega Genesis controller. The best, hands down, without a fucking doubt, is the Xbox controller. Absolutely.
I'm not gonna lie, that does look nice.
Down.
It looks good. It looks good. It always looks very sleek and good.
You were talking about the triggers. This is performance. Because let me show you something on the new Elite. The new Elite allows you to on the right trigger here. So there's these little notches right here, and I can control. Now it's just a click instead of going all the way down. So I flip this. Now I can go all the way down. And now I can just...
Yeah.
So there you go.
Like stops it? It literally
it stops it from going all the way down. So you can control the sensitivity of the actual trigger.
PEDs.
And watch this. Oh, if your thumbstick gets... oh, look at this. Oh, okay. I'll just replace it with a new one, magnetized. And same with that one, and then same with the middle button. I mean, dude, nothing beats the Xbox Elite controller. Hands down, best controller.
That was cool. I will say that. That is
cool. Classy.
That is classy.
So those are mine.
I will say that. I don't know.
That is the best.
It's a bunch of new age hooey. Some of it's PED-esque.
No.
The PlayStation controller is just... It's a party of hands. I don't know.
Besides the fact that the two sticks are right next to each other, which is
I will say this. In regards to PlayStation, I say PS2 and PlayStation 1 with my Resident Evil trials, but the PS4 has been
a
nightmare for a controller. It's a good fit.
Yeah.
I don't like the thumbsticks, though. They wear out. Or for some games, they start to wear out, or they'll work weird, or... the mechanics of that game, because I've noticed sometimes like the tactical sprint, I think it's called in Duty or whatever. Like some of my controllers like that just doesn't work.
You know what they call
anymore.
it? You know what they call it? They call it stick
The game
drift.
will work, okay, but then the sticks will work fine with other games.
Really?
And then
So the worst controller that I bought,
like
modern.
I can play Doom and the stick's fine,
That's
but I'm
insane.
also not tactical sprinting in Doom.
Okay, so there you go. So in COD, you use that. In Call of Duty, you're always using that tactical sprint, like all the time, right? I mean, that's just part of the game, and maybe that might not be for Doom, right? That you're.
So
not
what is
using
it? Something with the PS4's,
No, so
inside?
to your point, before I bought the Xbox Elite, and I had this big debate actually with you, Jay, on a new controller of what I should get, and you're actually the one that talked me into it. Now that I'm not playing on a console anymore, I'm playing on a PC. So I was so used to, I switched from Xbox over to the PlayStation. So I got used to playing with PlayStation controllers. And at first, when I made the jump from a 360 to PlayStation, I was like, holy shit, this is weird. The sticks are right next to one another. But obviously, I got used to it. So after what I wanted to do, playing a lot of Call of Duty, is I wanted to go buy a SCUF controller with paddles. That may be, I paid $185 for a SCUF controller. Mind you, I think a regular PlayStation controller is like $60, like $59.99.
Yeah.
The SCUF is $180. I bought a SCUF Pro. It lasted 4 months. 4 months, and I started having the stick drift issue. Yikes. I've had the Elite controller, this one, for the same amount of time now, 4 months. And it's just a beautiful fucking machine. Beautiful.
Okay. Yeah. May it convince me. I mean, that's legit. At least if they do, I don't know about it, but I also don't buy controllers very often. So, I mean, I don't think the PlayStation has anything like that.
And
let's talk about why the PS4 controller sucks.
Okay.
All right.
First thing is it has a speaker in it. Oh, that's really cool. Don't need that. It's got a big old touchpad right in the middle. Cool. Don't need that. Don't want that. Don't need it. It's also that touchpad's a button. Don't want that. Don't need it. Don't use it. Don't use any of those three things. Piece of junk. And Dodge was right. The sticks wear out quick. Piece of junk. Crap.
All right, fair.
I'll go with the Xbox controller. Thanks.
I get it.
All right,
I'm with you on the speaker doesn't make sense. I will say it is a unique. I think the games aren't utilizing it enough because GTA 5, it is a cool, unique way to get things read to you while you're playing. It's a different way. I feel like games don't utilize it.
Yeah, but nowadays with look at what we're wearing right now, minus Jay. You don't need to hear something coming out of your controller because the audio from these is just impressive. But I want to ask you, right? So you're defending. I mean, you're PlayStation guy. That's what you just said. So from a modern standpoint, you prefer the PlayStation controller, that style, over the Xbox. So what do you think it is? Do you just like the sticks the way they are?
No, I think that I fall into the category, and it's an annoying person, but I feel like I'm just biased to the PlayStation.
It's called a fanboy.
No. I mean, it was my first major system was PlayStation, and I loved it. And it's always been, it was my favorite system was PS1 and PS2 they were my favorite ever. And so when I switched to Xbox, when Halo came out, I was the original Xbox right up there too. That was one of my favorite systems. The games that came out for it, dude, playing some of those games like Morrowind, the original Morrowind on Xbox One was unbelievable to me.
Yep.
So when I say that I think that I'm loyal to, it came to the 360. The 360 was one of my least favorite systems. I was so upset because I loved their home system and the trophies and all that stuff, or the achievements, and that was cool and fun. But those controllers had to take those AA batteries, or you can buy their separate new battery pack that's rechargeable for, was it $79.99?
Forgot about that. Yeah, it was this whole thing.
It was annoying, and you'd be playing, and it took four AA's at first for the 360 to do the wireless controller, and it never worked. The red ring of death 360 left a bad taste in my mouth, and when I got my PS3, I felt so much better about gaming life. The games were awesome. The controller felt great.
So you were jaded by the system and not necessarily the controller.
Right, because PS3 had those rechargeable controllers right away, and the Blu-ray player right away. I mean, those were cool features to add to your system, and it completely defeated the Xbox 360 for me, and the Xbox let me down.
You know what's funny? We always talk
this a console war.
Well, I mean, it's funny. It's a perfect segue on what I want to say real quick, Jay, on the console war is we used to joke about this at Halo Night, actually, or not joke about it, but talk about it, which is Xbox, Microsoft was always rushing to market before Sony. And I remember us having a conversation where, Xbox would put their shit out, and we would I think we had the conversation of, well, Sony's just going to sit back and figure out what people like and don't like about it, and then they're just going to perfect it and then go to market. And then they're going to have that demand built up, and their systems and everything are going to fly off the shelf. I mean, I'll never forget when the PS3 came out, Nick Narouz, who we had on a couple of weeks ago on the show, he bought two and then flipped one and sold it for $1,000 and paid for the one that he had bought and made money.
Well, and you remember it came down to a couple things. First off, the free online was huge. That was, I mean, it hurt them when they got hacked, but it is what it is. But PlayStation was allowed to do that because the PS2, if I'm not mistaken, was also outselling the Xbox and everything still. So they had the PS2.
Yeah, I
was
think you're
still
right on
like
that.
the number one selling system for like years after the Xbox and stuff came out too. So they made so much money on that PS2, I bet, and they could sit back and say, we don't need to push the next gen. Our last one is still like outselling or basically breaking even with the Xbox. So let's perfect it. And they did. The PS3 was an awesome machine.
Wow.
The second generation of them was when they slimmed them down and made them not a huge block. Jay?
Yeah, it was a huge thing.
You agree, right?
I agree with this right here.
Uh-huh.
Oh, here it comes. Here it comes. I got to come over. I got to push the stream button.
Oh, there. Okay.
There it is on Reddit.
This is some good man on Reddit. Okay, because I'm not going to get into a console war at this in particular moment because I don't want to smash.
There's the Mad Catz controller, number 4, right there.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that is a Mad Cat. So I was going to say, too, so PS2, my favorite controller probably was a Mad Catz, which I had. And it even had a fan built into it. There was a switch that you could turn on.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
That blue thing. You remember that?
Blue one, yep. Yeah.
And you know how it just got smashed too many times. I started smashing it.
Oh, my God. So this
Look
is
how horrible those Wii controllers look.
I mean, that's
And the
very,
Wii.
very, very subjective point of view here. I've ranked every controller that I've used based on my experience. So,
Yeah.
but I like that you used Reddit, Jay, because this is a perfect segue into some of my show prep that I did prior to this episode. So I also created a Reddit thread in a, I think I posted it in, there's a forum called All Things Gaming on Reddit. And so I just threw it out there and said, hey, I'm doing a podcast and we're doing an episode on, best and worst controllers. And so here were I only have 4 of them here because they were all over. I didn't specify, really what I was looking for. I just said best and worst controllers, go. And so these were the 4 that came up the most. Number 1.
For worst?
For worst, excuse me.
Okay.
For worst. The bests are, we can get to those because really we've already talked about them. The number 1 and number 2 that came up were the Xbox and the PlayStation controller.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Or the variation of a SCUF controller is kind of what came up for the best. But the worst, which I think is more interesting here, the Nintendo Power Glove. That came up multiple times.
That thing was awful.
Do you remember that? You remember the commercials for that?
From the movie. They had it in The Wizard.
Yes. Good callback there. Second. So I ranked these with how many people chose this as being the worst. Second would be the Mad Catz controller, Dodge.
Oh wow, really? The worst.
I had one. I hated it. I mean,
some of them are not. Yeah, it was kind of like you're picking from this, you don't know what you're going to get kind of pool.
So the third, I'd never had a Mad Catz controller. I had to actually go look it up when you said it. You said it in one of our one of our first episodes. You said something about a Mad Catz, and I was like, what the hell is he talking about? All right. So the third one, the first PlayStation controller, the PSX DualShock controller, got some of the most hits as being the worst controller.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, damn.
About all-time backfire.
So
I have a lot of good res runs on an old PS1 controller.
Well,
it had the heaviness to it. It was good weight. And it vibrated. It was
granted, I was mostly the directional buttons. So in terms of the toggles weren't really the thumbsticks.
I would argue though that you were playing more for the game and not really giving a shit about the controller, right?
That's probably true. I'm trying to think of games I was playing on PlayStation and nothing was really like, motion craze. Gran Turismo.
Oh,
but I think I was using. Yeah, I don't know.
So this last one I have to bring up because this guy just absolutely cracked me up with. So I lied, actually. Those were the most hits on the worst. But there was one guy that had a description on what he thought was the best. And I don't know. I didn't know the name when he wrote it. I had to go look it up, and I was like, oh my God, absolutely. The NES Advantage. Does anybody remember this? Don't look it up. Just see if you can call back what this looks like in your mind. The NES Advantage. So it wasn't a controller
feel like it's like an
that
early prototype of a Super Nintendo controller.
Well, okay, so I remember a system, and it wasn't NES, but I think it's something like this. But there was a generic Sega
Jay, go pull it up and share it
that I
with the
can't
screen
remember
so
what
that
it
everybody
was.
can
But
see
it's,
it.
it's probably like an off-brand. Someone tried to rip off NES.
So it was a it was an aftermarket controller, but it wasn't an aftermarket, but it was a controller that NES
Oh,
put.
yeah.
Oh
Dude,
yeah,
I love
now
that
you
thing.
know. All right, share it for
Sega
the
had some
group.
crazy controllers.
Share it
Sega
for
had
the
some
group.
crazy controllers, Dodge. I'm with you on that.
Where
Sega's
there was like
controller-
switches that there was like 4
Yup.
gray switches that go
Yup.
up and
The
down.
I remember
NES
that,
Advantage. You guys are gonna know it right away when you see it.
Oh yeah.
Top left.
Yep.
Oh,
I remember that.
bad. Okay.
You remember?
I remember.
All
that.
right, so here's what this guy wrote about it.
Okay.
So he goes, for the modern controllers, I'm a fan of the DualShock and the Descendants. But back in the day, the NES motherfucking Advantage was simply the bond. Unparalleled stick and button feel, adjustable turbo, and big enough to handle extreme body English.
That is great.
Yeah, man. You should create
Getting into it. He's like,
You know what?
You
You
should
should
on your
invite
lap,
that guy
you know,
onto
so
the
it's like-
podcast.
Yes, we should get him
or
on.
it's up here and you're just like,
Send him and be like, "Hey, man, we liked what you said. You should come on and we should have him on for a segment. Just do
Yeah.
he check in with us every once in a while."
I will.
Yeah.
I absolutely do. So, but of course, so he was also immediately, his worst was the Power Glove. So that was another one
Yeah.
from him. And,
Yeah.
but I just laughed because like handle extreme body English. I was just cracking up when he said that. Oh, that was absolutely fantastic.
Funny stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Good stuff. Well, yeah. So, I mean, I guess for right now, the Xbox controller, I think I had never seen that controller you were using, Rye.
The Elite?
Okay.
What do you got?
That looks mighty fun, doesn't it, Dodge?
It's taking too
It
long
does.
for me to load here on the
it
screen.
also looks like a heart attack.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
But-
beautiful.
A damn good sesh. Holy cow.
I mean, that guy definitely hooked up his 360 controller to his Switch. I guarantee you, that's what it's doing.
Why do you like
Or
that?
his-
We've heard from these yahoos. I want to hear why Jay likes the 360. You've been touting it. Why do you like it?
The controller?
Yeah. Well, what the fuck do you think I'm talking about?
Well, I thought, yeah. So because I like the sticks, I think the sticks are the sticks are the most important, man. Because that's move, at least in multiplayer. So if you got good sticks, and I prefer the stick layout to be up and down, like up, the left one up, the right one, where it's
Off
supposed to be
center?
on yeah, off center. The sticks last, and I don't know what the right word, ergonomics, whatever that word is, it just feels better in the hand. That's more natural. I mean, it's just more natural. And the triggers, I think, are better than the DualShock. And those are the main reasons. Those would be the main two. So it feels better in the hand. The sticks are better, and I like the triggers better. And everything just feels, it just makes sense. It doesn't have a lot of, it's not flashy with your touch pads and your speakers. It's just girthy. It's got good girth, and it works. There you go.
It also uses the alphabet and doesn't use shapes as the buttons.
Yeah, I like the shapes.
I like the
of course
shapes
you do.
too.
That's because you're an artist.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe that's part of it, but especially for games like Mortal Kombat, I find it much easier to remember a string of shapes, than
Mhm. Then color.
Alphabetical or color. Yeah.
But technically, the buttons on either controller are exactly the same. They're set in the same pattern. So you don't even.
As when it comes to Mortal Kombat, I guess they actually change up.
What do you mean? No. I meant like physically. So like on the controller, like the PlayStation's layout is exactly the same. It's this diamond shape, or not.
Oh
diamond.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So like to the point of whether it's a letter or a shape or whatever, that it's irrelevant because it's the same design or whatever you want to call it, right?
I guess, but no, I mean, I still feel like it's a little different because when you're playing, like, say, for instance, like I was going to say with Mortal Kombat, so like something might be like triangle, square for like a punch sequence or something like that. And I don't know.
So that would be up,
Julian
left button.
Zaloni said one time that it's different on X because the combo string was different. The buttons were different. So it wasn't matching like the same, because they're in the same layout, it didn't necessarily follow the same sequence from system to system on the controller.
So the controller scripts were different on how it computed to the game.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. That makes sense.
But I mean, it's in terms of, I mean, I guess, yeah, when we're talking about shapes versus colors or letters, does that matter for that? I don't know. I don't know. I guess I'm just so used to a PlayStation controller that I correlate orange to the triangle right away, blue to the X, purple or the pinkish color to the square, and red to the circle,
All right, so you guys are PlayStation guys, and, the Mishas are Xbox guys.
Because what is it?
Control.
Come on, it's green. It's
A,
triangle.
Y, yellow.
Blue, X.
B, red, and X, blue.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe I switched to X's or something. But
God, you're totally debunking your argument here.
No, not really, because bring up the Xbox controller.
I got it.
Isn't B on the bottom?
I got it.
The B would be circle.
Okay, so that's still red. Okay.
Yep. Actually,
A's
on the
green.
elite, I can't tell what color they are. It's just they're all the same color.
What's the top?
Y is top, A is bottom, and X would be square for PlayStation.
Isn't Y's yellow, right?
Is yellow.
Yeah, it would be yellow.
A's red, or A's green.
A's green. Yep. So okay, interesting. So you're more color. How you coordinate?
Yeah, I think I am more color, but like I said with PlayStation, I just don't really even think about it.
You just kick ass because the controller allows it.
Basically.
Yeah, well, when I play Mortal Kombat, I mash buttons. So, dude, if you give me the NES Advantage Pad against Dodge and his PlayStation controller, dude, I'll fucking mash the shit out of that. Dude, my body English on that against you. I fucking love that guy. That cracked me up. All right, I'm sorry. I'm long-winded here. Right now would be a perfect spot for a sponsor to come through, and we'd have to do an ad read, but we don't have any of those. So,
well, let's.
You certainly counted Scuff out of the discussion too.
Yeah, they don't want any fucking.
I am happy if Scuff wants to send me a controller to try out, a couple of them that I don't have to pay for. I'll try them out.
I'll also try them out, and I play a lot more gaming.
That's funny. Well, what was decided today? Last week, like earlier in the Today Show, we talked about games that Dodge and Jay were playing, but last week the last episode, we couldn't decide what I was going to play. Rye, you're playing Mass Effect, is that correct?
Well, I haven't started, but that is what has been given to me, which is fucking stupid.
So you haven't started? It's been a week, and you knew we were going to come back on and probably talk about it, and you just weren't prepared.
Well, hold on a sec.
Hold on a sec.
No, I didn't. Right? How are you going to... We had this conversation beforehand. You hadn't had a game chosen.
I know. All right. Well,
and this was your idea. So I ain't going to start unless the creator of the idea to pass out game doesn't have a game
listen,
yet.
I have one now from what I've been told. And that is what?
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Horizon Zero Dawn.
One game of the year.
I'm going to chime in here. And most of the people, I would say, know what Resident Evil is. Most people know what Mass Effect is, right? Most people know what Uncharted is, right? Okay, let's just. But Horizon Zero Dawn, for those of you that don't know,
one game of the year.
Well, one game of the year, but it kind of looks like this. This is the game for the video watchers. Yeah. Yep. Didn't know it looked like that. I kind of knew, but not really.
Yeah, I mean, I think it looks fun. I haven't played it either myself.
It does look fun.
So where were you going with this,
Jordy I watched Jordy play it for a little bit, and it looked awesome. He looked fun.
I would be interested to see if it, you don't
like
I saw a little bit of the looting, and I'm worried about the only thing I'm worried about is kind of like the map and like how you go do missions. Like sometimes that
it looks pretty open world
from what kind of scene can kind of get old sometimes. It's fun.
No, I'm with you. Well, we'll check it out. Game of the year. So yeah, I have no idea. I don't know. I watched Jordy do a little bit of the training. He had to rip a cig and think about it.
Of course he did.
But then, so he's played a little bit there in the beginning. So I'll check it out. I'll get it. I'll buy it this week.
Well, good.
All right, good.
Cool. Well, I think that's everything for this week's show. Please tell your friends. Do the liking, subscribing thing. I've learned that you have to say that. But
like, subscribe.
Yeah.
So
I've just recently gotten the YouTube kick, so
we're on YouTube. So we're on YouTube. I haven't created a page yet. Oh, there it is. Freaking PS. I don't mind the PlayStation controller. I'm going to just say that right now. I don't mind it. I don't hate it. It's not the worst. I prefer the Xbox controller. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Casual Gaming Podcast. There it is. How do you do?
Thank you for the breadies.
Thank you for the breadies.
For the breadies.
What do you mean? You toss her off and you do the old reuse.
What? Yeah, you can do that. I'm talking about the shirt that I'm going to put on.
What are you going to put on?
Well, if I took this off, I have to put something else on.
But you have an undershirt.
Yeah, I could rock an undershirt.
Well, there you go.
Don't not fucking worry about your goddamn own wardrobe.
I did. I went and changed.
What are we doing here? Go bend the branch.
What does that mean?
Get a leaf.
You know what? That saying of yours.
You do this all day too. And just check your phone and it's there. And you're just, what is he talking about?
Yeah.
All right, let's get going here.
Yeah, let's roll.